We the best, we the best, we the best. Still is room for improvement and movement. We the best, we the best, we the best. Still is room for improvement and we the best, we the best, we the best. Our presence is we the best, we the best, we the best. Our presence is felt like a Black Panther movement.
Man, this hip-hop game, yo, I bleed, never mislead. Me a carbon copy, unlikely. Man, I ain't faking with it. Man, you catch me in the lab like a baker with it. Trying to get my cake up. You rap bastards need to get your weight up and take off the makeup. Man, I'm on my PE. I can't forget about the blessings from the essence. Come on, dude, gotta teach a lesson. Not everybody Smith & Wesson. Little this, little that. Maybe cause they just a little young. Come on, scrap. My feces connected to my telekinesis to reach your nephews and nieces in this crisis. We need it. The youth is misleaded. The gang's bleeding. Who gives a fuck? Ruck. Everybody duck. I blow about the bus. I know y'all fed up. That's why I'm in the lab whipping it up.
It's the remedy, the plan, the answer, the solution. Sitting in my studio, plot the revolution. Rewrite the Constitution, nah, burn that motherfucker. Cause I'm not the one that's gonna get beat like Tanya Tucker. Cause I'm here for the general population criminal. We killing all the information, getting a subliminal. We're giving all the tools to the children. Cause you need fresh water and soil if you attempt to plant a seed. And I don't wanna bleed less I'm bleeding life lessons to the rhythm of a song that can serve as confession with compression of my vocals. Squeeze it like a chokehold. If you wanna make change, you gotta start local. And if you wanna make change, you gotta stand tall. Teach them all that you gotta get up after you fall. A final call to my people, get it down to the letter. Yeah, we got a little something that'll make you feel better.
And you best believe I'ma put in work. Cause if worse come to worse, my peoples come first now. Let your mind rest on that. It's a proven fact that I'ma hit them with the artifacts. Flamboyant pro brother from the 412. Check my resume, this is what your bruh do. Stay sucker free, never let a hater get close to me. The Reaganomic effect got the whole room vexed. Check the way I put it down with the compounds and minerals to be my own general, the illmatic one. My mind illuminates like the sun. Knowledge is for self, but you gotta teach one. And I don't know if you didn't heard, but it's up to me to spread the word. Cause the game is so contagious, so aggravated when you spit black power. Radio won't play it.
Medication these MDs can't provide. Dedication these MCs can't supply. Remedies for all these maladies. Inside I'm the illest like jellyfish at low tide. You're hanging off the side of the SS Mechanic, spewing whack rhymes, polluting the Atlantic. Microphone queasy, lyrically seasick. Ain't coming Dramamine, stop sucking my MC dick. For real, spirit empty, lack of soul you illin'. My cup runneth over, catch the knowledge I'm spilling. Hell yeah, I'm old school, I rep it till I die. Class of 89 when hip-hop was alive. Somewhere down the line, rap music got dyspeptic. I'm here to clear ears, Marcus J. Antiseptic. Bite two rhymes, never call, let a leader lead. What I got is what you want and what you need.
Man, this game got me feeling like a Malcolm. They tryna X me out, but I'ma take a different route. Air the game out. I'm the one that the haters all talk about. Hypnotic picture scripture giver, so you can be ignited to my soul food cipher. Movement, Chuck said hit him in the head with the blueprint. You know the recipe. Never let the system get the best of me. And if it get the best of me, the seeds won't get the recipe. Hip hop with no anatomy, yo, that's tragedy. Tragedy.
We the best,
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Session 3 of the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. My name is Randy Henderson, and I am one of the Black Feminist Reading Circle members of this online group. This session runs from January 20th until June 2nd and includes 2 week-long breaks. Our democratically selected reading material is Harriet A. Washington's book, Medical Apartheid, The Dark History of Medical Experimentation on Black Americans from Colonial Times to the Present. Our book group meets each Tuesday evening from 6:30 to 8 on the Google Plus Hangouts on Air platform. You may find the Global Black Feminist Reader Circle on Google Plus, YouTube, and Facebook, and always feel free to join us in reading our story together.
Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. This is the third book we're reading, Session 3, which now runs through June 16th. So we are coming on down the road. We have closed the Hangout to the existing members, but you are still welcome to watch us live on YouTube or to visit our archives at YouTube. I should say my name's Michelle Odom. I am the moderator for tonight and one of the co-hosts of the Reading Circle along with Randy Danielle Henderson, and I'm located in Brooklyn, New York. And let's introduce the other conversationalists for tonight. Venita?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Venita Walker, and I am joining you all from Cromwell, Connecticut. Welcome.
And Georgette?
My name is Georgette Moses. I'm participating from Columbia, South Carolina, and I am happy we are moving along in this book. Yes.
Yes. And our newest member, Edwina?
Hi, my name is Edwina Marchenko. Glad to be here. I'm participating from Utah. I'm here with my son who's in the National Guard for Utah.
Okay. Kim B has joined the Hangout.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kim. I'm in New York.
Chapter 11, The Children's Crusade, Research Targets Young African Americans, tells the story of the dangers Black children, especially boys, have faced at the hands of American medical researchers on a never-ending quest to medicalize the problem of violence. Washington highlights a few of the most harmful experiments and medical procedures to which our children have been subjected, including the lobotomy, exemplified by the work of Orlando J. Andy, MD, and the University of Mississippi between the 1930s and 1970s, where psychiatrists and neurosurgeons who practiced these blind cut lobotomies simply inserted crude tools such as the ice pickalon and blindly swept them back and forth within the brain, cutting all the connecting nerves, sight unseen, at one fell swoop. Another example is Maryland's XYY study, or Search for the Mean Gene, carried out by DeGamber, Borgonker, PhD, and Johns Hopkins University during the 1970s, where parents were lied to, and these boys were subjected to stigmatizing testing, psychological assessments, and blood draws in a 3-year experiment that could have branded them as latent criminals for life. Another example is the fenfluramine study undertaken by Professor Gail Wasserman and New York City's New York State Psychiatric Institute and Columbia University's Lowenstein Center during the 1990s. Here they performed experiments upon at least 126 boys, most of whom were between the ages of 6 and 10, utilizing the drug fenfluramine. Fenfluramine is a cardiotoxic and brain-damaging substance, which at the same time had never been used on children under the age of 12. Another example is the repair and maintenance study conducted by Kennedy Krieger Institute and Johns Hopkins University during the 1990s, where scientists intentionally exposed children to lead in dilapidated housing to evaluate new, cheaper lead abatement techniques. And finally, the Violence Initiative, championed by Frederick Goodwin and the National Institute of Mental Health in the 90s, where inner city boys were compared to rhesus monkeys in the jungle. Her presentation also highlights the ways in which parental consent is disregarded and undermined as researchers doggedly pursue a single-minded agenda of proving Black boys are born criminals, more likely than others to be violent. She reviews ethical failures of the doctors and scientists in the cases cited, and she considers the social effects of racist research and raises concerns about current and future research agenda and practices. Edwina, would you read section C, please?
Okay. In the 1970s, Dig Gamber, Car, PhD, under the aegis of Johns Hopkins University, received a $3,000 grant from the National Institute of Mental Health Center for Crime and Delinquency. The large study was designed to investigate whether adolescent boys, many of whom were wards of Maryland's juvenile justice system, gave indications of a genetic anomaly, XYY. Goncar sought to discover the prevalence of XYY males in the U.S. population and to determine whether the XYY genetic anomaly might be responsible for aggressive and violent behavior. Over the course of the XYY study, these boys were subjected to stigmatizing tests, psychological assessments, and blood draws in a 3-year experiment that could brand them as latent criminals for life. Parents were told that the blood samples were taken to test for anemia and other medical problems, but it was actually drawn to screen for boys with the extra Y chromosome that made them XYY males instead of normal XY males. The question: do you believe this history of casting Black children as latent criminals for life affects the way today's American police forces view our youth today? How about the way white school teachers view Black children? Why or why not? Have you ever heard of, or can you even imagine, a group of Black researchers being funded by a government agency to study what is wrong with white people? What is wrong with white people, in your opinion? Do you suspect it's biological, psychological, or has some other root. Is it a learning disability? Can you appreciate why white people have such difficulty understanding the behavior of black children? Do you see real differences in the behavior of black and white children? Our children are in the streets in death-defying struggles for their human rights. They no longer care if they live or die. They have been driven to the brink by the callous and erroneous theories, experiments, ignorant beliefs and practices, and heartless exploits of white people. Since the research didn't find a greater prevalence of XYY chromosomes in white males, do you think we should fear white males? Should white males be lobotomized or locked up before they even reach puberty to prevent them from unleashing their aggressive and violent ways on our children and the rest of the world? Would the world be better off if there were no white males? Should all white males be judged as defective simply because some of them have an extra Y chromosome?
Thank you. Okay. So I was asking a bunch of rhetorical questions there. I was channeling some of Shelley's rage.
That's how I felt when I was trying to put this together. I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
you know,
It's hard. It's hard. But one thing though, working, especially working on the videos, the creative process really does help me process a lot of the rage that I feel as I'm reading this material. But let's look at question 8. Do you believe this history of casting black children as latent criminals for life affects the way today's American police forces view our youth today? How about the way white school teachers view black children? Why or why not? Anybody?
I think
I want to start.
Okay.
as criminals or innately
Edwina, let's hear from Kim for a bit.
okay.
Oh, thank you, Edwina. I went to a conference and there was a police officer that she kind of reminded us that the police department, especially in New York, that the only role for to start the police force was to make sure slaves didn't escape.
The slave patrols.
Black code.
So we're looking at a system that historically the only reason for the system is to imprison and torture African Americans.
And they're still doing their job.
And they're still doing their job, so the tool's not broken.
Right.
The tool that was created still does what it was intended to do, So I like what you were saying earlier about sometimes you got to burn it down. Sometimes you got to start from scratch and look at what's going on. And in terms of educating our children, you know, my daughter's school, she's in private school, which the Board of Education pays for because they didn't educate my child, so I had to sue them. But I think I had mentioned it at some point that, you know, white girl decides that she wants to threaten my kid. And I was shocked that the whole school rallied behind this little girl, not my child, who is on honor roll. And so I have to say that I was surprised at how these people who I would have in my home, some of these teachers, were so triggered by the dynamic of black girl versus white girl, and whatever it brought up in their history, they went to the racism. They went to being biased. And it surprised me, and the only thing that helped me was to look at the fact that there are always going to be scenarios where people are triggered, and when they're triggered, they're going to go back to what they know, regardless of the relationship that they have built with you for so many years. So it's real disappointing that you know me, you know my character, you know my child, but then you have this random little person come along and all of a sudden you looking out for them. And so I'm teaching my daughter to really look at this situation and learn from it, because she is going to experience it her entire lifetime.
Yeah.
And that she needs to know what's the important things that you pull out the big guns, and what are the things that you just kind of look at what your goals are and to keep it moving. But I do know that when it comes to African American boys, it's bad. It's bad. And the last thing I did want to remember was that the police did kill an African American woman recently. So you know,
the one that was in prison.
Is that the one?
That's one of them.
That's one of them. So I know it was last week or the week before last, but yeah. So that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Edwina?
Well, back to question 8, do you believe this history of casting black children as latent criminals for life? I believe that the children are being labeled, you know, to reflect on what Dawn was saying, that I think, you know, when the school turned against your daughter, you know, it was like this black girl, you know, she's more aggressive. She's innately aggressive, and she's gonna hurt this poor little dainty little, you know, Shirley Temple doll. You know, she's gonna hurt this poor little dainty little girl, and she's a threat to her. But the real bully was the other girl. You know, but they try to make like your daughter was the bully. I mean, you know, because of the labels and that they cast upon black children as being, you know, aggressive and violent. They're going to teach you. They're going to fight you.
Yeah. I posted something probably a few weeks ago. It was a white teacher who really was admitting that the white teachers really are afraid of black children. And you know, and I thought it was pretty interesting and pretty brave of her to say what, you know, black parents have been observing for a very long time. But it's a real problem, and again, it goes to what people believe. You know, the truth just almost doesn't matter. But I'm happy to see that this whole school to prison pipeline language is now being upgraded to preschool to prison pipeline, because that really is the reality. From the time we let our babies out of the house, even into the daycare preschool situation, they are being judged differently and treated more harshly. It boggles my mind when I see these stories about black children being arrested. I'm talking about elementary school, young elementary school students being arrested for things that we would have been sent to the principal's office for, to sit in the corner for a minute. But it's gotten so, this fear has grown to the point where clearly the school system doesn't believe it's capable of handling children anymore. And so it has to call in the police. I'm also happy to see that there's a bit of a trend in black families to do homeschooling, because until we can figure it out, until we can provide the young people with the answers that they are looking for in Baltimore and elsewhere today, until we have those answers, then I'm really hoping that young parents are thinking clearly about what to do with their children when it comes to school. Because, this has been 1955 is the Brown v. Board of Education decision, which was supposed to integrate public schools in America. But it took another, almost another 2 decades before we started to really see some integration. But it hasn't, I think that we have to really ask ourselves, how's it working? I feel like Dr. Phil, how's that working for you? Our children are on the front lines, and I was one of those children in the early and mid 60s that was going to a predominantly white school. And I think, I understand what the civil rights people had in mind, but I just think it was really, really dangerous to put our children on the front line in the battle for change in America. And I think, again, we didn't imagine the barbarity. We didn't imagine how deep the hatred goes. We didn't imagine that anyone could be cruel to a baby. But they can. And they are. And so since we know that, I think we have to stop putting our children on the front line of the war. Yeah, we want to have an integrated society, and it's a great ideal, and it's wonderful, and all of that. But I think we have to come at it some other kind of way. Basically, black people are, from my perspective, have forced ourselves into being accepted by a society, by a dominant society that never wanted to accept us, that never wanted to be equal with us. And while we have made significant progress in some ways, and there's no denying that, we are still paying significant costs. So, I just hope that we're really putting on our creative thinking caps and trying to think of new approaches, because what we're doing is not working for a lot of people.
I'm associated with some Black elementary school teachers, and the suggestion has been made that we start a charter school with a curriculum that is culturally,
Relevant.
Yes, relevant. Thank you. To African American children. For them, it's okay to celebrate Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
Taking that out the curriculum, and it's okay when we celebrate Black history, for them to know who the Black inventors are, and I had one teacher, she had that was training me, had a collection of Jet magazines where she had cut out all the front pages of all the people on Jet magazine, and we were in a circle just passing those pictures of these relevant Black people around, so these kids can recognize who these important Black people were.
Yeah, and a number of communities have started charter schools, and it's not a perfect solution, but what we know is that Black children can learn, and Black teachers, traditionally don't have any problem teaching Black children, whether it's the public school or the public charter school or whatever other environment, because we know that we're capable of learning, and so we bring that belief to the exchange. But if you start out believing that Johnny's an idiot, and then you treat him like that, then you get the results of the beliefs that you brought to the exchange.